Welcome to the end of Season 5 of Comic Book Nation, the only show that has done it all for geek culture all year and the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and it's the end of the year, so we're going to do a classic intro. With me today are my co-hosts, Matthew Aguilar.
What's up, everybody?
Janelle Wheeler.
Hello, hello.
And Mr. Connor Casey.
What's up?
And guys, what a year, what a year. This has been a crazy year. Right off the bat, I got to say, just do a little monologue off the top here. It's been a wild year for us here at Comic Book Nation. I got to thank all of my co-hosts this year. I got to thank everybody who's been listening this year, everybody behind the scenes. We were just talking to producer Peter, who's been just like a machine, just cranking out these podcasts. This year has been a big transformative year for us. We really kind of cracked the code on this show after starting off in the friendly comic book offices in the before times and muddling our way through the pandemic. We really kind of spread our wings this year. We cranked out more content. You guys responded. We got some nice growth out of it. And Comic Book even thought about adopting us officially as one of its official children. And it was like... It was a big deal. So it's been a crazy year for us. And again, we got to say thank you to everybody who's listened. We know this has been personally, professionally, all over the place, all over the world. It's been a wild year when you look back at it all. And we hope that we've just been a good place for you guys to hang out, talk geek culture, have fun with us. And we've had so much fun with you. So that's the serious part of this little talk. That's the dad talk of us all. You guys want to say anything? I mean, I just did a whole lot of breathing on this, but any of my co-hosts, you guys want to sum up the year real quick before we get to our best ofs?
It's been a year. It's been an interesting time for sure. I'm actually really excited to get into these picks because when you, Kofi, decided to do biggest disappointments, yeah, that was an interesting time for me because I was really disappointed in a few things. So,
yeah. I also it's been a really amazing year, and we talked a little bit about it in our landmark 400th episode, not crazy long ago, but it's nuts that we've amassed over 400 episodes now of this show, and from when it started, and shared some photos on social of just the throwbacks. Have some more. I think I found some more as well. It's just interesting to look back. It's been an awesome run, and I just, I gotta say, like, it's amazing the people that join the show every day, that listen to the show. I just, thank you so much for giving us your time and attention for, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week now sometimes. It's just all the gratitude.
Yeah, for me, it was a big personal year. I bought a house. I changed jobs. Made my pro wrestling debut, which I never thought I'd do. And through it all, the one constant was this show. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I appreciate my co-hosts for letting me become an official 4th member of this. I was always kind of the hanger-on, the extra co-host who was allowed to tag in. But I'm glad that we somewhere along the line it was made official, and I'm really proud about that.
Connor, I remember when I was that too, so I completely understand. I'd be trying to like sneak on the podcast more and more, and then finally they were like, okay, let's like have Janelle in here. And then of course we get like the trolls on the internet who are like, she's an idiot. But whatever. It's been fun. I love the internet because there's so many varying different like opinions of things. And I love that we each represent like something different.
Precisely. Yeah. And it's, I've come a long way from being in the background shot at our old office. And my desk was always in shot on the camera. And I was always just sitting there like, I want to be on the show right now. And I can't be.
Oh,
I should have red circled that. Because like we used to at Comic Book, like there was a run there where I'm not kidding, like every other article had a red circle in it. And
red circle!
I should have totally red circled that image and shared it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was very sweet, guys. I mean, little do you know that behind the scenes they've tested the AI, and all of us are replaceable. So yeah, it's been a great run, but you know, they can make a mad AI, and it's strikingly close. The one about me is pretty, you know, I respect him, but it has been a good run as a human co-host so far. So thank you guys, and without further ado, let's get into our main show topic of the day. Excuse me. So we are doing the top picks of 2023 plus our biggest misses. And I'm beginning to realize I don't know if we all landed on the same idea of what biggest misses were. So this is going to get real interesting. I'm not going to say what it was. I'm not going to say what it was, but I just want to see what everybody came up with, because this is going to say as much about all of us as it does about our picks. And I do like psycho professional games, and this is a good one. So let's start with our best of picks. Now, we kind of have done this throughout the year, so I'm interested to see if everybody kind of held consistent, or have you changed in the latter half of the year, because we've done best of so far. I think like our favorite geek things we did for Thanksgiving that we were thankful for, and it was really shout out to Brazil. To the Brazil. Man, we've been talking. Have we not been talking about Brazil in this podcast being like this crazy like fandom haven that, you know, needs more rep? Yeah, so shout out to Brazil and Pucha Nerd. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching, and we love you guys down there in Brazil. So here we go. Top 3 picks. I'm excited to see where you guys have fallen. I believe Connor Casey, you've gone from the man in the background to the man who's up first. So take us away. What were your top 3?
Gotta love that alphabetical order. So, guys, I've praised a lot of. You've heard me sing the praises of things like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. So, I since I've talked about those so much, I thought I would shift focus over to other things. The Last of Us being an adaptation that was so good and set the bar so high for video game adaptations from here on out. You know, it has to be celebrated, even though it happened way back at the start of the year. This one cannot be denied. I'm thrilled to see what they've got in plans for season 2. And yeah, keep my fingers crossed that we get a Last of Us 3 game before the show runs out of content to talk about, because I don't want them to go off the beaten path. I'll save number 2 because that one has a little bit of a rant. So number 1, Kofi and I did the review for this one. I've since gone back and watched it again. I love how the clips have overtaken social media now. It's Oppenheimer. It was everything I hoped it would be. It was Nolan at his best with no asterisks. No, yeah, it's Nolan, but he's trying to be emotional like in Interstellar. Yeah, it's Nolan, but he's doing the out of sequence storytelling again, like in Dunkirk. Yeah, it's Nolan, but he doesn't want you to hear what the characters are saying, so it's Tenet. No, this one is just legitimately great. And for a person that was so complicated, for this to be uncomplicated in its greatness is a testament. And it's why I'm glad even now it's still getting in the conversation for best movies of the year and, God willing, award shows. This last one, I just beat this game yesterday. And it got me thinking, and I'm going to do a bit of a video of my own for this one, but it's Super Mario RPG. And I had never played the original, but I had grown up on Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi series, which this is the Rosetta Stone for what those two franchises wound up being for a long time. Now, the problem is, if you're a fan of Nintendo, for reasons that only make sense to them, the Paper Mario series went way off the beaten path when it came to, hey, let's do actual RPG stuff that's enjoyable. And the company that makes Mario and Luigi folded in 2019. So the fact that this came out, the fact that it looks amazing, the fact that it's every bit as fun as I had heard from fans growing up, and the fact that we're getting a complete remaster from the ground up of Thousand Year Door next year actually gives me hope that Nintendo hasn't given up on RPGs in the Mario world. And I hope to God this sold well enough and that sells well enough next year that we get more like that in the years to come.
Connor, yes, I'm playing this right now. I'm playing this right now and I'm obsessed with it. Like, I'm going to play after this episode.
I need a Switch.
You do what? Yeah, you. Oh my God, we might start a Kickstarter for you. Like that's
I
crazy.
need-
Doesn't have a Switch. Oh my God. All right. Like, yeah. Small program note. Nobody fret. Like, if some people in the comments are asking, right after we get done this live stream for you about our top 3 picks of the year, we are banging out our most anticipated picks of 2024, and we are dropping that on New Year's Day as a present. Happy New Year. We will have that ready for you on New Year's Day.
Woohoo.
New content on Monday. So we got that coming. So we're just looking back at this here right now. And then we're going to do the next year in a minute here. But we'll have that for you on New Year's Day. So stay tuned to all Comic Book Nation feeds and our YouTube page. All right, Jay Wheeler.
Brywood gets comment of the day. Do you see that, Kofi?
Oh, that my man, Brywood. One of our top commenters, Brywood, is in the comments saying that Matt can get his Switch Kickstarter when I get my Something is Killing the Children books, which Matt has been holding hostage for many months now, all year. He has them right next to him. He taunts me. See, this is what I say, psycho professional games. You guys don't know the history. You guys don't know the history about me and Matt, but this whole podcast started because me and Matt were left in an office on Friday nights, and it just started into psycho professional games. I would play the Joker trailer and try to scare Matt. Matt would just kind of put his headphones on and try to ignore me, and it went on like this. And you see the back and forth there. And now we started a podcast from that. So it continues, and he's holding my Something is Killing the Children books hostage. But
sorry, Janelle. Did not mean to interrupt you.
No, sorry,
Jen. Oh, good. No, I love it.
I'm sorry that our beef spilled over into your time. Please, Janelle, like,
I think the comment of the day goes to Andrew. Said, I know y'all are talking, but I wanted to say I've looked forward to every Friday, to this every single week. There have been a few books I would never heard about without you guys. So I think that's my favorite comment so far.
Oh,
thanks,
my
Andrew.
God.
Thank you for bringing us back to the positivity train.
Oh, and by the way, Janelle, did you see the second part?
What?
Of Andrew's comment?
Oh, gosh. Oh, shucks. We don't need a Janelle. Very
Some
sweet,
talent,
though.
Janelle, I never would have. I learned about and loved every Friday at noon off y'all. Boom.
Thank you so much, seriously, for the support, y'all. Thanks for following me with my comic book reading journey. It's now a huge part of my life. So anyways, over to the best of 2023. These are my picks. I feel like it comes as no surprise that Loki is my number 1 because season 2 and season 1 I've been raving about all of this from the jump. I think there was one episode within all of the entire series that I lost a little bit of faith in. And boy, was I just completely corrected as soon as the next episode aired. This gave me the excitement that I really needed from any of the Marvel properties. I had kind of lost my excitement about Marvel in general. And this just reawoke so much in me, and I'm just pumped about next year because of this season. So they just did a beautiful job. We've talked about it a million times, but I just enjoyed this so much, and I have already rewatched this season 3 times. So that goes to show you I'm a big fan. Number 2 for me was Barbie. I really did not know what to expect with this, and it was really sentimental for me as a daughter. It really hit me hard, and I watched this. So I dressed up as Barbie, went to the theater, did the whole thing with my friends, and then I was like, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I have to go see this again. I am not a repeat movie girl. I do not spend that kind of money in the theater to go back and watch a movie twice in the theater. I wait for it to come out. I went with my mom. I took her on a mom date, and we went and watched it and cried and held each other at the end. It makes me emotional just thinking about it because it gave me a vindication. I felt like I had been seen, especially in the entertainment industry, for the first time in so long. But it was funny and it was cute and it wasn't so serious and angry, and it was wholesome and really lovely. So that was my number 2. And then my number 3,
let's go.
I cannot tell you how much of a Nintendo, when Connor picked a Super Mario Bros. Game for his top 3, I was ecstatic. You just surprised the heck out of me. I am probably one of your biggest Nintendo fans. Like I love Nintendo in general. It was, Super Mario Bros. Was the first game I ever played. The Super Nintendo was the first one I ever owned, the first console I ever owned. And now I play video games online for a living. And Mario has like shaped that for me. I started off streaming playing Mario Kart, to give you any indication. So seeing a well done Mario movie was really special for me. And I just thought they did a brilliant job. I only have one criticism. Funky Kong, instead of whatever that other Kong was in the like suit, like I don't understand what you're doing. Like Funky Kong is like a hippie with a bandana on a surfboard flying through the air. But
it was Vin Diesel Kong. What
yeah,
was I not to get?
That was my only criticism. But other than that, I just thought it was such a well done movie. And I've actually watched this one 3 times. I am not a repeat watcher, and I've watched all of these properties more than once, and that's why they're my favorite.
Super Mario really grew on me after a while. I've watched it a couple times too, and it's about as cute and good of a Mario adaptation as we could have probably hoped for in a lot of ways. And even Charlie Day and Chris Pratt like did a really good job. So,
yeah, I was nervous about Chris Pratt.
Yo, we all were. I love Charlie Day. It's always somebody's one of my favorite TV shows, but it's just like that was weird, but it all worked out. And I think I want to riot that Peaches isn't in the running for an Oscars for best original song. That's crazy. We're talking crazy, but all right. That's Hollywood fear for you. Let's move right along. I'm talking about everything but my own picks, and that's because I don't remember mine. I send off my stuff, and then I never remember what I picked. These are all kind of like my panic picks. Didn't we just do something where I had panic picks too? Oh yeah, comic books this week. Yeah, I had comic panic picks. It's been a busy week. It's Christmas week, New Year's. But okay, I'm looking at mine, and I'm solid on this. Okay, good. Past Kofi was on it. Present Kofi's happy. Let's start at number 3. I am with Connor, The Last of Us. I don't think I cooked on this as much as I should have this year, but we had a whole other podcast about it. That was neither here nor there. But these games really affected me. I've told the story. I never got it. I played PS3 as a PS2 guy, but then I went Xbox, and I went Xbox 360. And so I was over there doing that when PS3 came out, and I was living in New York, and I was running around New York, so I wasn't playing as much. And my best friend started a website, that's what we do now, and kind of video game website. And he was all into this, and he kept trying to get me to play it. And I was like, whatever, Last of Us, whatever. So then when I got a PS4, it came with the remastered version, and I tried to play it, and I put it on hard because I always think I'm so good at video games, and I was just getting wrecked. I never even knew I didn't know the dynamics of the game, having to find supplies and how realistic it was, and like keeping up with your stuff. And so I put it aside for years until the second game came out. And this is a theme of a lot of my picks today. It's just my own ignorance getting in my way. But when the second one came out and everybody was freaking out, I was like, fine, I got to get back in. I got to give this a try. And comic book gaming has done a lot for me. I don't give Tanner and them enough credit, but like they've gotten me to be like, quietly been like, yeah, no, you really should look at that again. And so I went back in and I was hooked. Like I was so enamored with the game that I went out right then, bought the second one, like right when it came out, and was like, I was gone. I haven't been gone like that since I got into Game of Thrones books back in the 2010s. But like, yeah, my wife couldn't find me. I was just like taking days off of work. I was just sitting out there, just like in front of the TV playing. And by the time I got to the end of Last of Us 2, I was like scarred, but like in a way that was good. I played a really great game. So I was really nervous when this TV show was coming around, as like one person who had just chased down the hype train after it was down the dusty road and hopped on the back and was dragging along. I was still one of those people like, this TV show better be great. And it was. And it was great in ways that both captured the game, but went beyond the game, as Connor said. And it really nailed the theme of what this story in this game and this universe is about. And it was also scary as hell and good. And we're all looking up the fungus and all that stuff a lot more. And it created whole new mythos. It did everything a show should do. And it was just another feather in HBO's prestige cap. So that's the longest one I'm going to talk about, but because I didn't really say that much this year, but it was so well executed. The actors, the episodes, just the whole arc of it was so good. And I am so excited to see what they do for the next part and I can't wait for the people who just watch the show to see what's going to happen. So yeah. All right. Number 2 pick is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm coming to the end of this game now. Same theme as The Last of Us. I was so against these Zelda games. I've tried to play Breath of the Wild, and when I bought a Switch, I was like, this is not my Zelda. Threw it away. Was like, I can't get into this. I couldn't find the hang glider. I was mad at the world. And I was just like, I'm not going to do it. This second one came out. Connor, the gaming team, everybody's hype got into me. I was like, I started seeing what Tears of the Kingdom let you do in terms of the building and the creation and the free play. And people were trying to tell me, like, there was some element of this in Breath of the Wild, but now they've just maxed it out. And I was like, oh, really? And I went back and I started playing Breath of the Wild. I found that hang glider and it changed my life after that. I was just hooked. And I've spent this year playing. My wife just came to me and was like, I've been watching you play Zelda since like March or April. And yeah, she's not wrong. I've been playing with my son. So this is always going to be a kind of milestone for me. It reinvigorated my love of Zelda. It was great. It's been great for him. It's kind of sparked his love of Zelda, and it's taken me back to 86 when me and my brothers were sitting down discovering that first game for the first time. And Tears of the Kingdom has been an expansive, so huge, I can't even remember half the stuff I'm supposed to do half the time because it's so big and so involved in so much. So great achievement in gaming, and for Zelda to be this strong this late, amazing. And last but certainly not least was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I have rewatched this movie several times, and I was really thinking, like, what things are going to really stick with me in terms of movies this year. I knew Connor would go Oppenheimer. I didn't want to double up on that too much with us. And I just thought the other one, since I've been rewatching this is a movie that has to be rewatched because one theatrical viewing was just simply not enough to take in what an achievement in filmmaking it is. And this needs to be on the Oscars for just Best Picture, period. Enough with this animation crap. Like, and I was hard on this movie when it came out, but like the deeper themes of what's happening in this movie, and there is a standalone arc in this movie about Miles and coming and Gwen and coming to your identity and against a world that doesn't, and having to be kind of the strength of being an individual and all of that. Like it's really good. And just the stylistic achievement of what this movie does and the layers that it's packing in is insane. So I know it's just half a story, but I'm psyched. And where it ends, it's already clear, like some of the themes that are set up for the next part. Again, still continuing this theme of identity, who you can be, who you might become, and all of this stuff. Like, I don't know if I need the rest of this silly ass, like this cartoon movie is more mature and better than the silly ass stuff I'm seeing in the rest of this superhero stuff with this multiverse storytelling. Like even something like Loki that I love, I'm just like, what Spider-Verse is doing with this whole concept of the multiverse is already richer and more important and arguably going to shut it down better than anything I'm going to see in the MCU. So great achievement in filmmaking. And yeah, those are my top 3 picks.
Man, amazing. I'm curious about
I see what you did there. Curious
about Last of Us. When you jumped on, I cannot remember. Was the remake of the first one out already? Is that what you jumped in with?
Yes,
Okay.
It came with PS4 when you bought it.
Right.
I bought PS4 with when GTA 5 came out. That bundle in that Black Friday, you got GTA 5, and it came with a voucher for a download of the remastered Last of Us.
Okay. That's why they do those remakes, man.
Yeah, it works.
You're always going to catch that new wave.
Yep.
Awesome. So I guess it's me, right?
Yes, sir. Take us out on this part.
All right. So my top 3 is a mix. There were so many great things to talk about this year. And one actually starting with my number 3, Final Fantasy 16. This is one that we actually me and Logan got to talk a little bit about it, but then like so many other things hit and really never got to return to it. This game was like, I'm a huge Final Fantasy person in general. You'll see that when it comes to my anticipated list. But just the chances that this game takes with and the movement of the combat system, and kind of I know some people, this was a little divisive in the fact that it really, that turn-based thing that I also adore was kind of just not really there. They really pushed the system from 15 even further, but man, it feels amazing, and the storytelling in this game is just I mean, it's fantastic. It's the voice acting, the character Sid alone is such an amazing addition to the overall lore and things. I mean, that character means a lot to the lore and the franchise in general, but this version of Sid is like a character I want to see time and time again. And it was just I was immersed into this world so quickly. And there's just, it's one of those things. Obviously, some people aren't, fans of the hey, we fight a little bit and then there's a big cutscene and then but that's Final Fantasy. That's RPGs in general, but that's Final Fantasy. And so that I know what I'm getting into and I adore it. And this game at one point tried to wreck my PS5 because like it was overheating. It's so pretty and it's so like pushing the system, but I didn't care. Like I redid sections of this, and while that was frustrating, it didn't matter because I was just so like I gotta see what happens next. So I cannot applaud this game more. I'm very excited for the DLC, which I have not had a chance to dive into yet. But I wanted to give some props there. Number 2 is Barbie. We just watched this again 2 days ago. I think it's 2 days ago. Now that it's on Max, we just watched it again, and it was as powerful, if not more, the second time around. This movie is just echoing all the things Janelle said. I mean, I just think she put it so well, and one of the best soundtracks as well of the year, easy. But like in general, like I've bopped to this soundtrack since the movie came out, since before the movie came out, and I've been listening to it even when I'm not watching it. Billie Eilish's song and the moment that accompanies in the film is like just an incredibly powerful moment. I could watch that over and over again. This surprised me so much. I was looking forward to it, but I did not expect it to be what it ultimately became. So I cannot say enough. And then finally, look, there are moments that you always remember in your nerddom journey. For me, it was, one of the moments I remember was actually watching Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, in a theater. I was, by myself in college because like everyone else had classes and stuff, and I really wanted to see it. So I just like, okay, well, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to see it by myself. And I went and saw it by myself, and you were just like, you really, no pun intended, marvel at what you're seeing on screen. It was like, oh my God, I'm actually seeing Spider-Man on screen. And while we've seen Transformers on the big screen before many times, I've been wanting the Beast Wars roster of characters to come into this kind of technology and this kind of modern filmmaking era. I've been waiting for that a very long time, and to see it executed so well. And I wanted to see more of them because they were done so well. And Optimus Primal is just, that's magic on screen. It's one of those things where when I went to go see this, ironically, I saw it again by myself because like Anissa was like, you're going to see this movie. This is a gift. I've given you everything. Go get your slushy and go like see this movie. And I went and saw it, and I just the joy I had leaving the theater was exactly the feeling I had when I left Spider-Man. It was just like, oh my God, I was just giddy. This movie created that for me, and I hope to see these characters back and this universe, especially with the things it opens up. But a Transformers movie has not done this for me, since the animated movie, where it was just this all around complete, and I enjoyed it this much. So love it, can't say enough. And this one is also on Paramount Plus now, so I will be rewatching.
B+. All right. Thank you, Matt. As we're doing this, last bit of breaking news for the year. Yeah, they dropped a clip from Marvel just promoted a clip from What If Season 3 of Bucky and Red Guardian trying to sneak across the US of A in a thing. So there's going to be a What If Season 3. It's already out here, and it looks like Marvel is banking on this show to be saving them in this kind of year-long content dry up they got. So you can go on Twitter, Thunderbolts tease. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Bucky and Red Guardian will be in Thunderbolts together. So there you go.
Synergy, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the MCU needs to do a lot to get me hooked back in. I'm hoping Deadpool 3 puts it on Smash, but we'll see. All right, so we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into what we all kind of thought of and picked for biggest misses of 2023. Please come back with us. Nation's Best of 2023 recap show. We just did our best of picks, and now we are getting into the second part of our show, which are biggest misses. Now, when we did this, I believe that I wrote into the rundown. Let me go back over this. Let's see what we said. We said we didn't. Okay, as the year ends, we don't want to let anything go unrecognized. So in a new twist, we've selected the best examples of quality content that they did not have a chance to discuss on the show. So I phrased it, I guess, crazily, but it meant, I think the idea was biggest misses of things we did not get to talk about on this show. But I think
this is gonna be interesting.
This is going to be really interesting because I think a lot of you picked like biggest disappointments, things that like miss the mark, right? So it's going to be fun to get into. Either way, I'm interested to hear what everybody picked. So
I
Connor,
definitely read that wrong.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I phrased it crazy. I realized I phrased it crazy. Half the people probably jumping in this episode are probably expecting the same thing. So it's okay. But Connor, what did you pick and why?
I am so glad I read the directions like 3 times to make sure I had it right. So my things are positive. We just didn't talk about them enough. The first one is
Janelle Smith.
I was like, oh no, they're gonna make me negative. And then I was like, all right, I'm about to be so negative.
No, go ahead. Yo, you cook, Janelle. We're gonna let everybody cook. This is great. So go ahead, Connor. What was your
the first thing? I gotta be me. I gotta be on brand. It's the AEW Continental Classic. In a year full of ups and downs for the young company, they managed to close things out with something really excellent in recreating a wait, what's the big comment that's got everybody in stitches?
I did submit picks, but they were all positive.
Producer Peter,
That was the
producer,
point.
we got to tell for the audio people. Producer Peter is in the comments saying Matt laughing when he forgot to submit any picks. And
I submitted 5 picks, and they were all positive.
Yeah, we had to trudge you down at the end. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So the thing about tournaments in wrestling is that they usually only work one way: single elimination, big brackets, the whole shebang. Over in New Japan, they have these big months-long round-robin tournaments, your G1s, your Best of the Super Juniors, your World Tag Leagues. And if you want to look at how pro wrestling kind of evolved on the international stage in the 2010s, go back and look at those tournaments. You see it happen in real time. So here in the States, it was pretty hard to pull off. WWE never even attempted to broach anything like this to this kind of scale. The closest they ever got was stuff what they were doing with the cruiserweights and NXT back in the pandemic when they could tape a bunch of these all at once. AEW went whole hog and basically did their version of the G1 with the Continental Classic. It ends this Saturday at World's End. It has told some fantastic stories for guys like Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, Jay White, Daniel Garcia. Brody King looks like an absolute monster coming out of this. Basically, if you're anybody not named Jay Lethal, you came out of this tournament looking better. And that is so hard to pull off. It has been so much fun to watch. And at a time when it's hard to pin down what AEW's identity is, you now have your answer. It's must-see matches every week. And they pull it off, and it's something that WWE doesn't always necessarily deliver on. So it's what makes me an AEW fan, and I've loved the absolute hell out of this. You should have seen me at the gym during the last match between Kingston and Danielson. I was fist pumping on the treadmill and shouting like an idiot when he got that pin, but damn it, it was fun. The last one, this one also flew under the radar. It's God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. God of War Ragnarok was my game of the year for last year. And for them to just show up at the Game Awards and go, hey, here's a complete roguelike. It's basically, did you like Hades? It's just that again, but it's the God of War story. So we're diving into all the stuff from the original trilogy and the Norse mythology stuff, trying to mash them together. It's like 10 hours to get through the whole thing. It makes you reappreciate the combat system. And it was free. This wasn't DLC. You didn't have to pay a dime for it. It was completely free. It was wonderful. It took God of War, which came out a year ago, and put it right back in Game of the Year conversation for this year. And this year has been freaking stacked. So I love this.
All right, there you go. Cooking with some passion. I like
Great
it.
picks, man. Good picks.
Yeah, good picks. Janelle, we get to go to the other side of the
Oh,
fence
no.
and see a rare Janelle like going in on something, and I love it. I love it that you just kind of like settled in on this direction for it. So what do you got?
Oh no, I like, it makes so much sense that we missed it. Not that like it was a miss overall. Also, I was like, I guess it would have been called like disappointments, not misses. Oh gosh. Okay, well,
Ooh, I see the
Yep.
picture for the audio people. This picture is just telling the tale. Go ahead, Janelle.
Well, let me start by saying that, first of all, I'm so excited about how great we did cover a lot of topics this year. So my biggest miss would be anything Doctor Who, but Kofi let me just cook on an entire episode of the Doctor Who special. So that would have been my pick for something we didn't get to highlight, but we totally highlighted it. So shout out to these bonus episodes. So I'm going to say like my biggest disappointments of 2023. And I don't really have a first or a second. Can we just say overall, both of these picks, Quantumania, Ant-Man, and Secret Invasion, really missed the mark for fans in movie and in TV. And this is when I know, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
when
Our
I
show does
was,
not hinge on this.
When I said that Loki gave me faith in Marvel again, it like got me excited about upcoming projects. It's because these made me not excited about the MCU and things like that. I will say Quantumania was way cooler in the theater. And so I started off really team Quantumania. Like it wasn't that bad. Like I really liked it. And then when I came home and I watched it again, the second watch through was pretty rough for me. I always forget that MODOK is even in this film. And that's kind of crazy because yeah, I'm thinking of so many other things, but like the MODOK thing was really not great. Secret Invasion had no heart. There was no soul or heart to it. I think they did Fury dirty. I hate the way they portrayed him. I don't like what they've done with certain heroes within the MCU recently, because these are beloved characters who are strong in their own right. And all I could take from this was that he is weak. And I hate that. I don't want to believe that Nick Fury is weak and feeble. And that's pretty much what I felt the entire season. And then in the end, he comes through. But like, you can't get me excited about an entire series and just like leave it to the last episode. Anyways, I am actually like, I could go on and on, but we have gone on and on about these. So those are my two disappointments, not misses. Sorry.
Woohoo.
Janelle, if we were doing biggest disappointments, these would be my two. So you know.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, Secret Invasion would be one of my two. Absolutely. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, they're great. It almost brought
Oh
the
my
whole
gosh.
podcast together. So.
Yeah.
And Janelle, to be fair, like you were really just, I know you were just really banking off the fact that you're used to me who would absolutely normally go negative. This is like the first year I'm trying not to go negative. So like,
Yes.
yeah, you just, I mean, it's going to think by 2024, I hope to do a whole new rollout, a whole new Kofi Outlaw rollout. And there's going to be
Love it.
people will expect to like be less negative coming in. So you weren't wrong. I think you were just psychologically conditioned by me to read that and be like, oh, I know he just is asking me to talk some ish. I know it. And then you normally, yeah. And I was really proud of you for what you just did. Yeah. I mean, that MCU stuff was everybody's in the comments being like, yeah, that's the disappointment for me too. So I don't think you were wrong. So
Yeah,
I think you got the answer right anyway. So let's move on to me. And my biggest misses are kind of a mix of you guys. It's stuff I really loved, but it's stuff that I failed as the person who is supposed to be head hosting of this podcast, completely failed to really nail down. Because this year, as I said at the start, has been wild. We expanded like crazy. Bonus episodes, we've been hitting everything. And one of the biggest misses that I am sorry is that I shout out to Evan Valentine, to Nick Valdez over in Comic Book Anime, who really helped us make some big anime games this year. I am so sorry that we did not sit down and do an entire bonus episode of this Blue Eye Samurai. Netflix's Blue Eye Samurai, which for me, honestly, is my number one TV show of the year. This is the best thing that I watched this year. Completely unexpected, just came out of like, the Netflix void of stuff. It's like you hear Netflix is making this samurai, anime kind of Western, but a mix of Amber Nizumi and Michael Green, this couple. And like, you're like, okay, sure. I don't watch trailers anymore. There's too much to keep up with. I don't want to be spoiled. I just need the content to speak for itself when I start watching it. I click this one on. And by the time you hear the word peaches at the end of the first episode, you're in. And this show is a demonstration of something we all seriously need to take away from 2023, which is none of this franchise crap ultimately matters. You cannot bank on a franchise name. You cannot just bank on the already established love of a franchise. You have to be able to tell a story. Blue Eye Samurai does zero things new. It does not reinvent the wheel. You've seen these samurai kind of epics. You've seen these Ronin revenge tale. You've seen these kind of stories about unexpected protagonists and stuff. It's all stuff we've seen before. But these showrunners and the directors put it into a format where each episode is a banger of this. And from the moment episode 3 hits, when it's a battle down a mountaintop between a Ronin and a samurai, but about so much more as they're going through the steps of the battle, this show had the best writing of any episodes I've seen all year, and just like the best just structuring in its storytelling. Each character matters. Each arc matters. There's not one person in there who's a comedic aside or a goofball that doesn't come together in some way by the end. And it expanded for a season 2 that I very much want them to turn out and get here with. It was violent. It was completely adult, and it was deep in like its characterization. And I think episode 5, which is this battle across basically a brothel between the hero and a bunch of ninjas, and the story about her life and kind of what turned her into a kind of hardcore killing Ronin, is one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen. And so I am so mad that we did not sit down and do more with this show, because we did highlight it, but it came out in this flurry of stuff. It was like a big anime push. Onimusha came out, this came out, Godzilla -1, Squid Game came back. So there was like this big kind of push, and this got lost in our mix. But this was our big miss, my favorite TV show of the year. And I didn't even talk about it on this podcast. I don't know what life's about, but I'm trying to get it straight in 2024. All right. The other big thing that completely, I feel like, flew under the radar, and I get why we didn't do it. It's not really our geek culture, mainstay, but believe it or not, I am part of like critics groups and stuff. I do the prestige stuff when I'm not doing this podcast. And Taylor Sheridan's been really cooking this year. And it came down to 2 of his shows, basically, as my second pick. It was this or Lawman Bass Reeves, and they're both currently on Paramount Plus. And I just finished Bass Reeves, which is excellent. Like, you got to check that out. But Spec Ops Lioness. And this had Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman, Zoe Saldana in the main role. And this, again, did not reinvent the wheel, but like, was a story about a kind of female-led special ops group that specializes in sending female operatives undercover into terrorist organizations through the female side of, those organizations, and, potentially turning people within the organization to kind of get them and locate targets of interest, but then eliminate them. And so the show's about how do you get the target, but also protect your operative. And it's this kind of cat and mouse game centered around this one new recruit who is this lady who comes from a very rough background and enlisted Marines and is tougher than like anybody in a kind of psychological game of getting to this terrorist target. And it was phenomenal. Taylor Sheridan at his best, since, this is the kind of, if you like his Yellowstone stuff, but you remember this dude really made his bones making a movie like Sicario. This is like the most Sicario thing he's done since Sicario. And it was phenomenal. And we all love Zoe Saldana and her blue Avatar makeup and green Gamora makeup. But this right here, like, is why this lady is like a top-notch actress. It deserves to get those roles and stuff. And yeah, the whole cast was great. The whole show was great. There's some crazy twists in it, and yeah, good stuff. So I would love to see them kind of continue this in different installments. So those are my 2 biggest misses of things I wish we had done on this podcast more this year. Matt, what about you? Where did you land in all this?
So mine, we've talked about on the show before, but I wanted to, you mentioned before how it's very easy for just the sheer amount of content that hit this year, for things to kind of, they kind of pop up one week and then there's 9 other things to talk about. So we just kind of move forward. Neona, I was so happy, or I think it was earlier this year. I can't remember which one. It might have been like summer movie or summer picks.
It was summer things. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent episode. Highly downloaded. Go listen to it. Cause it's
that Janelle picked Neona, and I was so excited. I was so happy because like this was in, development hell, for a while. And the original book, a friend of mine got me, onto the actual, like, she lent me the graphic novel and was just like, you need to read this. And then I read this, like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then it was just like following along of like, the studio's passing and like now it's not being made, but now it is. And it's just the kind of what if scenario of everything, and you're kind of like, this could be Duke Nukem Forever. And no, it wasn't. It was awesome. And it's just, man, talk about like a perfect fit, like animation and aesthetic wise. Yeah, they made some changes here and there, but they were all positive. It was just like the changes didn't affect everything, and it came together so well. And this is just so, it like walks that line perfectly, because like Ember was like watching me, like came into the office when I was like watching it and was like, oh, what's that? Like it piqued her interest. And while there's some darker parts, you know what I mean, where like she doesn't get the subtext, she was still like, oh, that's like really pretty, and like, oh, that's awesome, she turned into a an animal or this and that. And then also the underlying themes for the kind of older crowd of like all the actual kind of real depth there between all the characters and their motivations, and Neona especially. Like there's just so much there, and it's just one of those rare things that I think can appeal to any audience almost, and if they just give it a chance. And yes, it's tied to IP, but it's tied to a more niche IP. And so I was so happy that it came together so well that it even became a reality in the first place. And it's just one of those things that like I want to recommend to the rooftops, because I don't know, maybe one day we get something else set in that world or more, because man, I would love to see it. And the other is One Piece, because I did not see that coming. I tried the anime, we talked about it before, and we have an excellent spoiler podcast episode that we also did for the season. But I tried it and it just didn't click with me. It didn't hook me. And, sometimes in this kind of overall discussion of what should we do with live action remakes? Should they even be a thing? Why are we remaking something that was in its original form great to so many? We talk about with Disney all the time, but it's across the board, whether that's in video games and movies. And I look at this and go, this is why. This is the perfect example of why, because that original thing speaks to one audience, but there's another audience that maybe never clicked with that thing, and maybe you can keep the core parts of what made that special, but also modernize some things, change some things, and open that whole franchise up to a new audience. And that's what this did. I was glued. This show is so weird and fun, and I love all the characters, and it's the fighting, like the battle scenes are just fantastic and so stylish and funny. I gravitated to all these characters, and it was just kind of opened my eyes to like, man, I should give that another shot, maybe go forward a little bit, jump ahead. But I was so ecstatic that we're getting more too. So I just, it's one of those things, like, you can see, I always wrote off One Piece as something like I'm just not going to be into. Like, I tried, it just didn't hook me. Okay. And I move on. And now this has me seeing that franchise in a whole new light. So I got to give it credit. They knocked it out of the park for me, and I'm in. I'm in. So lots of good things this year. That's me.
All right, and shout out to Chris Chipperson in the comments. Yeah, Reservation Dogs has been excellent on Hulu. Everybody should be checking that out. But again, that's like one of those that's like a show I enjoy, but like it doesn't necessarily fall in the wheelhouse of what we're doing over here. But great one to highlight as well. Please do let us know, guys. Please go on Twitter to the Comic Book Nation account, comment under this YouTube video. Let us know what your top picks are for the year, and what are the biggest things you wish we had discussed more on this show, because it's not just fun dialogue with you guys. It's also feedback for us, so we know kind of where we can go. So we could go to Jim Viscardi and be like, hey, you see this? We should be doing more Blue-Eyed Samurai talk on this show. So, it's all good ammunition for us. Otherwise, I want to say thank you again to my co-hosts, to everybody who produces this show, cuts it up for socials, edits our videos, makes our graphics. It's a whole team of people who probably don't want me shouting out all their information, but like are really dedicated and help us make this show what it is. Freerian, I will watch the show Freerian Damon streams. I take recs from all our fans because you guys know so much. So I mean, you guys keep me going with what I need to be doing here. So I will watch that. Guys, Janelle, Matt, Connor, thank you guys again for the even harder work you guys did all year, jumping on when we needed you, helping me crank out all these bonus episodes, and all the just monumental moments of kind of content highlights, all the news craziness that we had to get through, and everything else in between that we did to pull this show off, and just to get to 400 episodes, which is insane. We've done now over 400, but to get there in over 5 years and be kind of Comic Book's longest surviving program, like no matter what happens from here on out, and that's not ominous. We got big plans for season 6. Don't sleep on that. But yeah, it's already an achievement for the book. So thank you everybody again. I hope everybody has a happy new year, a safe new year. And, January and February are always crazy. If you guys need anything, please come here, join us, hang out, get through those depressing months with us, as we just going to be doing a lot of stuff to have a lot of fun and to celebrate all the content we do get in 2024. That's my spiel. You guys have any last words for everybody?
Just thank you so much. We appreciate you guys, and we love what we do. So thank you for allowing us to do it.
And Crow, a final commenter, Crow0731. That is the best comment to end on this year, because this is what we say when people ask us, like, what do we hope for our show that mixes in all these different topics of geek culture? Because everybody says nobody wants that. Everybody wants podcasts about one thing, and we're like, hell no, that's wrong. And a comment like Crow0731, y'all break me out of the comfort zone to watch new things. I appreciate all of you. No, we appreciate you. That's the exact kind of effect we want to have. This is Comic Book Nation. We do it all for geek culture, and we will see you guys in 2024 with our most anticipated 2024 show coming at you on New Year's Day. See you then.
This is
Free Jim.